The last translation. Dr. Ralvek Thun had translated hundreds of dead languages in his time, but never had a single phrase chilled him like this. He leaned back from the glowing console aboard the Zentari Deepwatcher, rubbing two trembling fingers over the ridges of his brow. The ancient inscription, etched into the obsidian walls of the Zorote ruins, pulsed on the screen in bold red glyphs. Earth. They did not conquer it. They guard it. They guard something worse. Ralvek whispered the word aloud. The rest of the dig team stood behind him, silent. Even the normally skeptical Commander Ralvek said nothing. For a moment, only the low hum of the ship's core systems filled the air. This is the sixth one, Ralvek finally said. 6 extinct civilizations. All of them left some version of this warning. Coincidence, Ralvek muttered, but there was no conviction in it. Ralvek brought up a file comparison on the console. The Mgash had left a similar phrase etched in their temple stones on the frost world of Kareen. The Terrans are not the threat. They are the wardens. The Veilari had broadcast a final signal before their cities crumbled into silence. The prison is on the blue world. Even the Zarkari, whose war fleets had spanned 4 spiral arms, disappeared after a brief and unsuccessful contact with Earth. No one had taken it seriously. Earth was quarantined 300 years ago after humanity severed all diplomatic contact with the Galactic Consortium. They'd withdrawn from trade networks, dismantled communication relays, and even shot down a few uninvited probes. Most chalked it up to species-wide regression, xenophobia, perhaps, or post-conflict isolationism. But the pattern said otherwise. 6 advanced civilizations, all wiped out, all immediately following their attempts to interact with Earth. And every one of them had left a message, not of conquest, but of warning. Ralvek knew the consortium wouldn't want to hear this. The ruling council was pragmatic to the point of arrogance, dismissing superstition, even when written in the ruins of fallen empires. But someone was listening. 2 days later, Ralvek received the secure transmission. Authorization, Black Echo. Objective, investigate Terran quarantine zone. Role, xenolinguist and historical consultant. Vessel, Nightrunner class stealth reconnaissance. Departure, immediate. He stared at the orders for a long time, his mind still buzzing with the gravity of what they implied. The military didn't move this fast unless they believed the threat was real. He found Commander Ralvek again, standing near the observation deck. The gas giant Juroth rotated lazily below, its storms flashing against the hull's reflection. "They're sending me in," Ralvek said. The commander turned. "To Earth." Ralvek nodded. Ralvek didn't respond immediately. He folded his arms behind his back, thoughtful. "We've lost contact with a dozen archaeological teams in recent cycles," the commander said finally. 3 of them were tracing ancient references to Earth. One of those was my brother. Ralvek's chest tightened. Why wasn't that in the report? The consortium censors data about Earth. Quietly. They don't want panic. He paused, then added, "Be careful, Thun. If the humans are guarding something, then maybe it's because they're the only ones who know how to." Ralvek had always believed knowledge was the key to safety. Now, for the first time, he wondered if some truths were kept buried for a reason. 2 cycles later, he boarded the Nightrunner. The ship was black as vacuum, its hull coated with sensor-bending alloys and active camouflage. It was designed for stealth infiltration, not diplomacy. The crew was small. A few elite scouts, a military exobiologist, and one grim-faced captain who didn't introduce himself. No names, no chatter, just a mission. As the vessel slipped into jump space, Ralvek stared at the star map. Sol, the Terran system, was surrounded by a digital exclusion field, red-marked zones, and automated warnings. Satellites still patrolled the border. No signals in or out, but the humans were still down there, silent, watching. The translator in his mind whispered that ancient phrase once more. They guard something worse. Ralvek shivered. For the first time in his career, he feared what he was about to learn. Arrival. The Nightrunner emerged from jump space on the edge of the solar system with a whisper instead of a bang. No ion flare, no gravitational ripple. Designed for covert operations, The vessel barely registered even to its own long-range sensors. Captain Vake, still as stone in the command cradle, spoke for the first time since they'd left consortium space. Stealth systems holding. Earth's perimeter satellites haven't locked on yet. Dr. Ralvek Thun stood near the primary viewport, gazing at the blue dot far ahead. Earth. It looked peaceful, almost small, adrift in the black sea of space. But it wasn't peace he felt. It was pressure, like a presence lurking just beyond the glass. "Bringing up orbital data," said one of the bridge crew. "That's a lot of debris." The holographic projection of Earth's orbit filled the room. Dozens of layers of ancient satellites, weapons platforms, and derelict stations. Some were so old they predated the Galactic Consortium's formation. Others glowed with artificial intelligence signatures, still online, still watching. "Everything still active?" Ralvek asked, incredulous. "Mostly dormant," replied the exobiologist, a female Harkari named Lessa. "But there's power. And thermal cycling. These aren't forgotten relics. They're waiting." A warning flashed on the console. "Incoming signal detected." The crew froze. Captain Vake narrowed his eyes. "Source?" he asked. "Unknown." Wait. It's coming from an orbital satellite. Very old tech. Terran." The signal burst through their systems like it had been lying in wait. A voice filled the cabin, crisp and cold, speaking consortium standard in perfect cadence. "We warned you." Silence dropped like a curtain. "That was pre-recorded," Lessa whispered. "No way they know we're here already." Ralvek stepped forward, his voice steady despite his racing pulse. "They know. They've always known. We're not the first." The captain frowned, considering the risk. "Can we move closer without tripping defenses?" The pilot nodded. "There's an anomaly. One narrow corridor, almost like a safe lane. Clears the orbital debris and weapons arrays." "They're inviting us in," Lessa murmured. Vake made the call. "Follow the corridor. But slow. Anything pings us, we jump." The ship slid into the pathway like a needle into the eye of storm. Ancient weapons platforms tracked them, but held their fire. Surveillance drones floated silently, watching, unmoving. "Where does this lead?" Ralvek asked. The answer came seconds later. "The moon," the pilot said. "Specifically the far side. There's a structure, partially buried. Artificial, Terran design, but it's not in any known archive." As they approached, the ship's lights dimmed, sensors flickering. "A signal is emanating from the lunar surface," said the technician. "Low frequency, repeating. It's a handshake protocol, old human military. It's accepting us." They descended. The structure came into view, a smooth, monolithic slab rising from beneath the lunar regolith. Massive, silent, and unblemished by time. Black, matte surfaces arranged in precise, geometric configurations. A landing pad extended from the side, as if deployed just for them. The words Project Cerberus were carved in English above a sealed entrance. Cerberus, Ralvek translated, the mythological guardian of the underworld. 3 heads, kept the dead from escaping. Vake's expression darkened. Fitting. They disembarked in full sealed gear. The gravity was weak, but the tension weighed heavily. Inside, the facility was pristine. Dim lights flickered on as they moved. Human architecture, angular, efficient but cold. Dustless. No signs of damage or decay. The air systems still functioned. Automated systems greeted them with a voice. "Welcome. Clearance code required." Vake stepped forward and transmitted an override script. The facility paused, then responded, "Override accepted." Observation team logged. Protocol Theta resumed. Doors opened. What followed were hallways of eerie silence. Observation windows into sealed chambers, thick with leaded glass and heavy shielding. Containment systems still active, some humming with low-energy signatures. They entered the central command chamber. A holographic display flared to life, showing the Earth from orbit. Status logs scrolled endlessly. At the center was a blinking icon. Vault status. Critical. Containment breach pending. Ralvek turned pale. Something still alive in there. "Impossible," Lessa muttered. "This place is centuries old." There's no way. The lights dimmed. A low hum echoed through the floor. From deep within the structure, something moved. Life form signature detected, said the facility. Vault Zero integrity compromised. Lockdown protocols disabled. Captain Vake stepped back, hand on his weapon. Looks like we found out what the humans were guarding, he said grimly. Ralvek stared at the Vault Zero readout, heart pounding. And for the first time, he wished they'd never come. The vault. The descent into the lower levels of Project Cerberus was like sinking through time. Dr. Ralvek Thun followed closely behind Captain Vake and the two security officers as they moved deeper into the Earth-built facility. The walls here were thicker, the corridors darker, lined with automated turrets, dormant for now, but ready should anything emerge from the depths. The signs changed too. Upper levels bore clean human script, but down here, something else had been added, scratched into the metal with inhuman precision. Symbols, glyphs, warnings, none of them in any known language. Ralvek took scans, whispering notes. These were made by humans, not even Terran variants. Their containment wards, Lessa said from behind him, her voice tight. Spiritual tech. I've seen similar things in old and gash reliquaries. They're not meant to keep something out. They're meant to keep something in. The corridor ended at a vast circular blast door. Stenciled in fading paint above it were 3 stark words. Vault Zero, absolute containment. The vault door wasn't entirely closed. It had been forced open from the inside. Edges twisted outward, metal bowed, as though something far stronger than steel had simply pushed through. Seal breach occurred approximately 6 standard days ago, the facility AI intoned. Backup lockdown failed. Organic personnel, 0 remaining. Ralvek swallowed hard. There were humans here. Until recently, yes, said the AI. They did not leave. Captain Vake signaled a scout drone forward. It hovered through the breach, lights cutting into the darkness beyond. The feed showed a massive chamber, octagonal and domed. The walls were covered in layers of shielding, reinforced plating, and integrated suppression tech, some of it unfamiliar even to the Night Runner's advanced systems. In the center of the chamber stood an empty containment cage, scorched black. Around it, clawed marks in the floor trace spirals, carved into the reinforced alloy itself. As though whatever had escaped hadn't just left, it had waited. Then came the recording. A blinking terminal lit up on the wall, requesting activation. Ralvek approached and triggered it. A hologram sparked to life. A human, mid-40s, gaunt pale, eyes hollow, wearing a black uniform with a Cerberus insignia, 3-headed hound, fangs bared. If you're seeing this, the man said, we failed. Vault Zero has been breached. The entity is loose. He paused, seeming to stare through the recording. You need to leave. This isn't just a creature. It's not biological. Not fully. We don't know what it is anymore. It changes reality around it. Thoughts, matter, space-time. Cerberus has contained it for nearly 4 centuries, since the Endgate War. Since we dragged it screaming out of the in-between. Ralvek blinked. Endgate War. Lessa answered. That was just a myth. A Terran story about a gateway to another dimension. The hologram continued. We didn't kill it because we couldn't. We learned the hard way. But we found a way to hold it. We became its jailers. That's why we left the stars. So no one would ever come looking again. The man's expression hardened. You'll be tempted to study it. Don't. Don't make contact. If containment fails completely, there's only one protocol left. Call Earth. Humanity still remembers how to make it sleep again. But it comes with a cost. The hologram ended. The silence that followed was suffocating. Then, from behind the containment cage, a low sound rippled through the chamber. Not a roar, not a growl, a whisper. A voice that didn't come from speakers or throats, but from inside the mind. I see you. The lights flickered. The air grew colder. Lessa screamed, clutching her helmet. I saw something. In my mind. Eyes. Black and endless. Ralvek backed away from the chamber, heart hammering. This place was never abandoned, he said. It was sacrificed. They stayed to keep it buried. Captain Vake gave the order. Back to the ship. Now. But as they turned, The lights along the hallway dimmed again, flickering in sequence. Doors they had passed through began sealing, locking them inside. Ralvek's translator pinged. Not from the AI, from something else. A message transmitted on a quantum layer beneath detectable frequencies. It was simple. 6 words. You woke it. Call them back. Ralvek stared at the words. And for the first time, he understood what those lost civilizations had tried to say. Humanity had not gone silent because it was afraid of the galaxy. It had gone silent because the galaxy should have been afraid of what they were holding back. The cost of silence. Alarms screamed across the Night Runner as the away team sprinted back toward the airlock. Dr. Ralvek Thun clutched the datapad to his chest, barely able to process the flood of warnings. Psychic resonance surges, spatial distortions, biosignature contamination. Behind him, the voice still echoed through his skull, even though his helmet filters were on maximum block. Call him back. The whisper was calm, patient, not a threat, a promise. Ralvek staggered as the corridor tilted briefly. Not physically, but perceptually, like gravity had decided to argue with logic. His mind reeled, and he forced himself to keep moving. Ahead, Captain Vake barked orders, forcing the emergency override on the airlock. Lessa stumbled beside Ralvek, face pale behind her visor. "It's following us," she gasped. "Not with footsteps, with ideas. I can feel it scraping around inside my head." "Don't respond," Ralvek said. "It learns through interaction. Observation feeds it." That's how it breached the vault. The airlock hissed open. They spilled into the ship, dragging each other across the threshold. "Seal it," Vake shouted. The inner door slammed shut, and a surge of magnetic energy blasted the corridor. Decontamination Protocol Theta. For a moment, everything was white-hot light and searing cold. Then silence. The AI chimed. Internal contamination suppressed. Unknown entity outside. Proximity monitoring initiated. Ralvek ripped off his helmet, gasping. "We can't stay. Not here." But Captain Vake wasn't listening. He stood motionless, staring at the external monitor. The entity had followed them. It stood just beyond the ship, not fully formed, black, shifting tendrils of void trailing behind it, a vaguely humanoid silhouette rippling with unnatural motion. It didn't glow. It devoured light. "It's not trying to breach the ship," Lessa whispered. "It's waiting. It wants something." Ralvek knew what. The message. Call them back. Vake turned to him. "Call who back?" "Humans," Ralvek said. "The ones who built Cerberus. The ones who left. They knew how to put it back. They paid a price to learn it. But Earth's silent," Lessa said. "It's been sealed for centuries." Ralvek activated the terminal. Not sealed. Guarded. They were never cut off. They were holding the gate shut. He opened the channel, bypassing consortium command protocols. He used the signal embedded in the Cerberus facility, a hard-coded pulse meant to be activated only under one condition: a total containment breach. The signal launched. Seconds passed. The entity didn't move. It only watched. Then the proximity alarms began to chirp. Vake frowned. Multiple FDL traces inbound. From Earth. On the screen, space bent. Not from jump drives, not like normal. These were slipspace ruptures. Earth tech, old and strange. Silent as ghosts, a fleet of black ships emerged from Sol, moving with impossible precision. No lights. No beacons. They looked less like warships and more like executioners. One transmission pierced the airlock like a blade of ice. "This is Aegis Command. You broke the lock. Stand down and prepare for immediate containment." Vake opened a channel. "Who the hell are you?" The reply came flat and final. "The ones who buried it." The lead Terran ship released a payload. Not a weapon. Not energy. A tone. One long, low sound, like a funeral bell stretched across dimensions. It pulsed outward, striking the lunar surface and rippling through the vault. The entity twitched. For the first time, it recoiled. Ralvek clutched his head as images poured into his mind. Not memories, impressions. Wars fought in realms that didn't obey physics. The first time humanity found the end gate. The first time they tried to destroy what came through, and failed. Instead, They imprisoned it, built Cerberus, sacrificed their place in the galaxy. Let the universe think they had vanished, regressed, gone silent. Because they knew if they ever came back, it meant the door had opened again. On the monitor, the entity began to collapse inward. Not dying, folding. The tone continued, harmonics layered with neural frequency dampeners, designed not to destroy it, but to suppress it, to put it back to sleep. As it vanished, the last thought echoed in Ralvek's mind. They will not hold me forever. Then silence. The Terran fleet remained, watching. One final message came through. Leave orbit. Forget this place. If your people return, they will not find mercy next time. The channel cut. No demand for diplomacy. No threat of retaliation. Just one command. Go. Ralvek leaned back in his seat aboard the Night Runner as it retreated from the Earth-Moon system. His hands shook. Now you understand, Lessa said quietly. He nodded. Every dead civilization had left the same note. They guard something worse. And now, Ralvek knew exactly what that meant.